podcast. My name is Jackie, filling in for Will. You can find me on Twitter at lib. I was gonna say live on that swing. Jason
Again, you did the last time too.
God damn it, fucking Will. Anyways, I'm joined by my co-host. Why don't you introduce yourself, man?
Yo, it's Mac. Thank you for joining us, Jackie and I. We're gonna have I don't know how long we'll be on here tonight, but we're ready to talk some Cardinals football. Finally, it's been a minute since we've been on here, but the Cardinals had a thrilling win over the Broncos in preseason game number 1, and this week we'll be facing off against you know who, Patrick Mahomes. You know the darling in the NFL. The Chiefs come to town, so that's going to be an interesting matchup because I don't know what you thought, Jackie, but I mean Cardinals performed above my standard thought heading into last week.
Well, yeah, I mean the bar for them was like in hell, but
Right.
they've, you know, they kind of raised some eyebrows a little bit. They looked really good against Russell Wilson. You were actually at the game though, right?
Yeah, and that was honestly my first thought, seeing the defensive line early on, seemingly batting down almost every like Russell Wilson pass. It seemed like, and they were just getting to Russell Wilson. And from where I was sitting, I mean, I was in the $13 seat, so I could barely see shit other than telling which team was which. But our D line, and our linebackers made Russell Wilson look slow, and I don't think that's something that. Um, if you watch last season, that's probably not too surprising. But to see our defensive line, they had their starters going for damn near the whole first half. So it was definitely good to see the defensive line, because that was probably my biggest worry, the D line, and then our depth at cornerback. But man, those guys stepped up. They all look like they're battling for positions. And the more competition you can get, that's a good way to fill out the bottom part of your roster with guys who are competing and showing that they're here to stay.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle. There's a lot of position battles that are going to be really interesting to watch in these next couple preseason games. Real quick, I just want to say hello to some of the people in the chat. Thank you, Silverwolf AZ, for showing up. And then we have a Rams fan in the chat. Payo Time, Canadian Rams fan, has a question for us. He says, what is the ceiling for the Cards team? Don't have much of a ceiling right now.
I mean, I think the ceiling might be 500, or I guess you can't be 500 anymore, but
Yeah.
7, maybe 8 wins. But I think that's the ceiling. I don't believe no Monty Fort built this roster to win games right away. He set himself up pretty well for in the draft next season. But he does want to get guys in here who can set a standard and set the foundation. And while the front office might put it as kind of a tank year where they're not, obviously there's no championship expectations, but the players aren't going to feel that way. So if some of these guys, I was impressed. Paris Johnson, he looked the part at right tackle. If he can come in here and Will Hernandez can stay healthy, we should have a better offensive line than last year, and that could go a long ways. We saw that we're going to be more of a traditional offense, ground and pound, at least until Kyler gets back, whenever that may be. So if this defense can keep it close, and we look like week 1, there weren't a lot of dumb errors, mental errors like we saw all under Cliff Kingsbury. There could be a lot more closer games than we expect going into fourth quarter of a lot of these games. But at the end of the day, I still think the Cardinals, just the depth alone. If a couple guys go down in cornerback room, you already have Marco Wilson's your CB1. So you're going to be really shorthanded, and that injuries happen in every locker room. So throughout the length of the season, I would put us probably about 5 wins on the year. But the ceiling, I mean, 7, 8 wins, that would exceed what obviously Vegas is putting out there, and what the whole NFL and the majority of our fan base believes is going to be the case. But what do you think, Jackie?
Well, realistically, 3 to 5 wins is what my prediction is. I do think we could still, like, 5 kind of seems steep to some people, but I do think we can steal a couple just because everyone's going to be.
I think we
going
can
down
win
to us.
week 1 against Washington.
Yeah.
That's one team right there. So get off on the right foot and momentum. You could win a couple early games this year, and who knows? A lot of NFL games come down to the final, 15 minutes, 5 minutes. So the teams that are more disciplined, and that I got to go back to that. Just not seeing the unforced errors that we saw is right there, just a step in the right direction. And in the heading into the hiring process of Jonathan Gannon, I'm not gonna shy away from it. I wanted Sean Payton. I don't know,
Yeah.
what the cost ended up was gonna be with draft picks and everything like that. But I just felt like he would have been the one guy who can come in here and make a culture shock, and that's what this organization needed. And I was wrong. From right now, it looks like Jonathan Gannon is also providing that culture shock. We've heard numerous players talk about it. So far so good. Preseason week 1 down. Really, it can only go downhill from here. That's all. That's what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, we're not going to be a 0-win team.
No,
I know it's
no.
supposed to be a tank year because Austin Fort kind of set us up for next draft. But players don't tank. A lot of these are young guys that didn't really get a shot in the Vance Joseph defense.
Oh
Yeah. We have a really young roster with our defense, so they're gonna come to play, and I think our defense will definitely keep us in some games. They might even win us a couple games. But
yeah. They're going to
this
be
feels.
athletic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Athletic and young.
We've got some crazy athletic players for sure. But our offensive line did look pretty solid from what I got to see with preseason. That Randy Gregory block, man. Paris
Paris
Johnson to
Johnson.
me, PJJ, whatever you want to call him. He's looking very NFL ready, and we needed that. Especially for drafting an offensive lineman with the 6th pick. Like, we got to get someone in here to not only play, but just to kind of be a guy for the next however long his career, because we've never really had an offensive lineman like that.
No, yeah, I agree 100%. And you have him and Humphreys, on the bookends. That's not a bad place to start. And I mean, you just look at, Kelvin Beachum. He played all of his snaps, at least in the first half, at left tackle, because Paris Johnson, he's a starter over there at right tackle. To me, it looks like, and Beacham's going to be that swing tackle, which is probably more ideal. And you talked about athleticism on this defense. That Keitrell Clark, pass breakup over the middle of the field where he's fully extended. I had to go back and when I got home, had to rewatch that a couple times. That was, what a hell of a play by the 6th-round rookie from Louisville, who looks like he's battling for CB2 out there. So it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of competition. Antonio Hamilton looked good, with his INT. So. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of promise. Before we go any further, Jackie, we have not gone over it yet. What are you sipping on?
Well, now that I'm back in beautiful Arizona, I just gotta say, like, Arizona craft beer game is like off the charts compared to the East Coast. I'm still bitter about Virginia. Hated that place. I'm so glad to be home.
They didn't have good beer out there?
Hell no, they didn't have good beer out there.
Huh.
So
you think they've been around since like the 1700s and shit? You think they would learn that by now?
Yeah, no, it sucks. But now I've got a Hop Knot 4 Peaks IPA, not sponsored.
Nice.
Sponsor us.
That's gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, I put a little lead in my
pencil. Sooner or later we're gonna have to start it's gonna be just blurred out cans and shit like our sponsors. But he can't be. But for the time being, I'm going with some Colorado beer, a little Coors Light. Gotta look good for the beach this weekend. Going to celebrate my brother's bachelor party. Shout out Derek, if you're listening. I'll see you at 5 a.m. We're heading to San Diego bright and early. So
you got a thong Speedo ready to go?
Hey, I do have a Speedo. My brother said I can't wear it though. It's my fiance gave it to me. It's American Eagle, like on the front and like on the back. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. But yeah, I'm still drinking beer. I haven't lost that much weight. I wouldn't feel comfortable in San Diego, rocking like that. But yeah, that's another time. We're only 2 beers deep, so we won't get too far into my Speedo wearing habits. But so good.
Well, shoot, if we keep pounding these, you're gonna be busting out that Speedo by the time this live's over.
Hey, let's ask Will. Will, what are you? Oh, Will's not here. What are you drinking, Will? College Tings.
College Tings. All right, we got a question here, or no? It says Hamilton literally his best foot forward.
His non-burnt foot.
His non-burnt foot.
It's good to see him out there, though. He's going to provide. He's a guy who actually has some, NFL experience. He can come in there, and if he doesn't win one of those starting jobs, I think that's amazing news for how the young guys are looking. And if
Oh
one of
yeah,
the
for
young
sure.
guys struggles off the bat or goes down, you have someone in Antonio Hamilton who can step in there and play multiple positions back there. He can play a little bit of slot or outside if need be. So that is encouraging from, looking at the cornerback depth chart heading into training camp and to see kind of where we're at. I feel a little bit better about that. But just like last year, we saw, once Robert Alford went down and people had to get forced into bigger roles, it seemed like our secondary kind of broke down at that point because Robert Alford was having a hell of a year, like very quietly last season. So you just know injuries are going to happen, and I was impressed up front. LJ Collier came up and he looked pretty good out there, and Cam Thomas had a dirty sack around their starting right tackle. So it was good to see. Actually, they're starting left tackle, which was nice to see Cam Thomas come up there, and he's going to be a big part to this defense moving forward. I believe, pretty high draft pick last season. He's a guy that they're going to need to step up a little bit. Yeah, and with this defense being so young, they're going to have to rely on a lot of these young guys to make that step forward. So, and it's nice seeing this young coaching staff. They seem, pretty adaptable and relatable to these young players. So I'm excited to see, and who knows? These coaches aren't tanking. So, if Nick Rollis over here comes out and he ends up being a gem of a defensive coordinator, I mean, who knows to say where this team could be at the end of the year, or more importantly, next year and moving forward.
Absolutely, man. And I'm glad you brought up, coaching, because it looks like a completely different team. This looks like an NFL team, just the way they're coached. You can tell, like, with the team camaraderie down to even the pre-snap penalties. Everything looks more organized. Everything looks so competent.
Yeah, when
And
you
yeah,
hear players say, "Yeah, you can't be 15 seconds late to a meeting," kind of makes you wonder what the fuck Cliff Kingsbury was kind of doing back there.
giving them snack phone breaks and
Right. It's one thing. You're still at the end of the day a football coach, a leader of grown men.
yeah, you
So
can't be buddy with everybody. You got to hold these guys accountable because they're gonna walk all over you.
yeah, it's like Bruce. It's like Bruce Arians. He was buddy, but he knew to lay down the fucking law if it came down to it. You weren't gonna, that motherfucker. Who did he cut because he parked in the wrong spot? Remember, he parked in the wrong spot. Yeah, he parked in my fucking spot or the coach's spot. Yeah, he cut like that. Cliff Kingsbury would never do that. But I don't think Cliff Kingsbury had that much power within the organization, anyways. With who his boss is. So, but it's a new calendar year. It's a new football season. So I'm happy. We're in a good spot. I think moving forward. This is the year to set the foundation. So.
Absolutely. And let me bring this back up. But Loto Capone says Simmons will be tested on Saturday, and I'm glad you brought up Simmons because that's kind of like a hot topic right now with the team. We didn't pick up his 5th-year option, and he's on a new coaching staff, and he's made a position change. So he's going to be a player that I'm going to keep a close eye on this season for sure, because I felt coming out of college, coming into the NFL, that he should have been, they should have worked with him at safety this whole time. And then, come to find out that, that he had a press conference and he almost kind of wanted to throw the old coaching staff under the bus, saying, that they played me out of position, or a position I didn't want to be at, but, I'm a team player, so I'm going to do what you tell me. But this, the new regime comes in, they said, what position do you want to play? And he says, I want to be safety. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go, if we're going to have a Hassan Reddick 2.0 where he balls out this year, we don't give him a bag, and he walks and, goes on to have like a phenomenal Hall of Fame type career. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course. It's that stigma around Arizona sports anyways. It doesn't matter the sport or team. Young guys leave in general, and they figure it out elsewhere. But it is good to see that they are going to stick with him at one position. That's something that we talked about last couple of years. You bounce him around inside linebacker, outside. I thought he was probably best on tight ends and
Yeah.
um, more in space, which is what he's going to be. He's not a guy who you want really in the trenches. He's a big guy, but you need him out using his athleticism. He'll be better in the run game, I think. He won't have to go up against those linemen. He can be able to hit those running backs one on one, and then he's going to be basically a center fielder out there, which I think it's a good thing. Buda Baker isn't known to be the best defender with the ball in the air. Like he's a physical specimen. He does a lot of great things, but he's not a guy who's going to get 10 ints a season or anything like that. So to have a guy back there who can, I think it's going to be a good opportunity for both of them to kind of thrive even more. Even for Buddha,
Yeah.
take a little bit less off of his shoulders and see him running around a little bit more in the box, maybe. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. They it seems like they have a plan up their sleeve, and right now that's all you can really ask for because it didn't seem like Vance Joseph had too
An
many
idea.
plans for him, or exactly on how to use him consistently. Some games he would play 60 snaps, some other games he played 15 snaps. So as long as they have a plan and stick to it, and he balls out, good for him, and hopefully we can retain him. I feel like there's a lot of guys heading into this year where the Cardinals didn't want to pay to retain them. They want to see, they
Yeah.
want to get you on a 1-year deal, bring you in here, see if you're a right fit for them. As much as they could watch Isaiah Simmons and played against some of the Eagles coaches, Rallis and Gannon. They've never had Isaiah Simmons, for a real NFL game. So to give them a full season to figure out if this guy can be part of the future, I think that's really all you can ask from a new regime right now.
Absolutely. I think that, we have confident coaching. They're going to, know who they want to bring back. The guys are going to buy in and we'll go from there. But yeah, sorry, I'm like reading the comments
No,
while
you're good.
watching you. So I'm like getting
Was
lost
there
in thoughts.
anybody? I know this is kind of when we didn't really talk about it leading into the pre-show, but did anybody you were kind of disappointed in or expected maybe more? I know for me personally, like Josh Jones, he had a hold. He looked like he got beat another once or twice, and that's just kind of disappointing to see here in his fourth year. I believe just his third year, but we all had high hopes for him, falling to the third round, but it does seem like there's a reason why he fell. And we've done the same kind of with him. We haven't used him in one spot. He's been kind of just rotating all over, and it's hard to learn in the NFL like that. So I don't really think there's too many guys who stood out that were kind of disappointing, but that was one person when I went back and rewatched the game who kind of stood out to me that I was a little bit underwhelmed with, so to speak.
There's not really a particular person that I'm underwhelmed with other than maybe we haven't really talked about this. We didn't get the chance to talk about training camp. I wish we would have streamed,
Yeah,
something
we should
after
have done
training
more.
camp.
Yeah.
But the headlines were like Michael Wilson being like this stud of a wide receiver, but it kind of made me wonder, like, is he the real deal, or is our corner room like that decimated? Is Marco getting just beat to shit every practice that it's making him look good? So that was kind of a disappointment to me. And then just like I didn't get to watch all of the game, but it seemed like we were kind of getting run all over. But then it's like they only had like what 100 something rushing yards against us that game.
Yeah, they kind of picked their spots. It didn't seem like they ran very well early on. Um, but yeah, as Mike, going back to Michael Wilson for a second, um, you know, for a guy who got drafted where he got drafted, middle of the round, middle of the draft, to kind of pop in training camp, I think that's a great sign. But people are going to have to be patient with him. Guys don't come into the NFL right away at wide receiver and step in there and
And just like
automatically are the guy.
yes.
So with him, people, there's Twitter accounts out there that are going to hype, every guy on the Cardinals, whether, the guy's going to make the roster or not. And I mean, Michael Wilson's roster spot is by far safe, and
Yeah.
he could be a starter on this team. But by the end of the year, I like to see him solidify that number 2 spot. Rondell Moore, I think Rondell had a nice catch out of the slot. And you don't want two short guys, 5'9", to be your outside wide receiver. So you have Hollywood on the left, Rondell in the middle, and then if Michael Wilson, I don't know what the stats are going to look like, but if he can stay healthy, because that's his number 1 knock, that's the biggest red flag on Michael Wilson on Stanford, is not being able to stay healthy. And we covered that, I think, in our last episode, which is our draft special. We cover that kind of pretty in depth, but that's just for a lot of these guys as well. I agree with you. I had the same thoughts in training camp. Is Michael Wilson popping because our cornerback room doesn't look great, or what's the deal? And from everything I could gather, for the most part, I thought the cornerback room was a plus this weekend. So Michael Wilson made the catches that were thrown to him, had a big third down, had another reception. So they didn't really seem like they were running a lot of packages. There was a lot of curl or out routes. So maybe kind of hiding a little bit what their plan of attack is going to be with him. But yeah, I mean, he's a guy who he could help take this offense from being maybe a middle of the pack offense to just a click higher. Where if he does have a great year for a rookie, that's when I think we could see maybe that 7-8 win mark. But another thing that was announced, was it this week? Zach Ertz is back, so that's a good sign right there. He's one of the most reliable tight ends in the league. So to get him back less than a year after his ACL surgery, I think it's gives a lot of fans hope that Kyler Murray can kind of maybe do the same here in the. If not, I wouldn't put any money on it that he'll be ready for the regular season, but to get him back in the first quarter of the schedule, to where maybe we do win our first couple games, win 2 out of our first 4 or something like that, to get him back and be hovering around 500, then you might be able to reach that ceiling and even higher. I mean, who the hell knows? The NFC is not that strong this year, so to think you might surprise and be a wild card, I don't know. I wouldn't put the house on it, but I think Zach Ertz coming back, it does give hope that Kyler can kind of do the same here.
Yeah, my boy Noah says Zach Ertz coming back gives me hope Kyler can be back within the first 4 weeks.
And
that was kind of like my hot take too, is I think we might see him week 4, week 5 maybe. Because they've been kind of hush-hush about his rehab and where he stands. It's like, you don't want to give a specific timetable, because then, defensive coordinators and teams are going to start game planning for it. So we'll see where this goes. But I'm very hopeful. He's done some sideline workouts there that, people that got to go to training camp saw. Some people said he was limping, but then other people was like, no. So I don't know which is true.
That's just his pimp limp, baby.
Walking with a limp like an old school pimp. But
right.
But before we get into anything else, what did you think of his sports bra?
Hey, I got 2 ordered right now on the way. I want to get Kyler to sign mine, baby. That's, I don't know. I mean, you see more and more. JJ Watt did that. I feel like, JJ Watt had that. I don't know.
It's a performance thing. Like, it's a monitor thing that you wear, and it tracks like your movements and your, whatever. Other players have worn them.
Oh yeah.
I think Burrow wore one over a t-shirt, but it was fucking ridiculous. As a sports bra wearer, hey, you need all the support you can get. But it wasn't a fucking sports bra. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
But I just had to throw that out there because I'm like, people are fucking dumb.
And he has to have probably the most trolls out of anyone in the NFL, I want to say. I mean, so it's been predominantly great news, it seems like, coming out of Cards camp, Kyler, everything since Kime has been gone. There's no leaked reports and shit like that. So it just seemed like, these trolls are kind of thirsty to jump on something because, they have nothing better to do than sit online all fucking day. So Go fuck themselves.
Yeah, eat my shit. But what are
Hey,
we
they
feeling?
just might. You never know. Be careful what you
They
say.
probably will. I haven't said that on the live in a long time, but remember that was like the
Eat
catchphrase,
my shit.
eat my shit. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Bringing it back for this season.
And now
Everyone be
Jackie's
like,
back in Phoenix, so don't test her, people. Don't fucking test her.
yeah, come for me and we can fight in a fucking Chili's parking lot. Buy me a beer afterwards, though.
Right. We'll grab a beer afterwards.
Exactly. But speaking of offense a little bit, how are you feeling about our running back room and who's going to be behind James Conner?
I was kind of surprised to see who was it that just got hurt? Jesus Christ. I'm like two beers deep.
Marlon Mack, I was so sad. As a
Right.
Marlon Mack fantasy owner for the last few years, sad. I was really excited about that.
And I don't know if it's a sign because they brought him in kind of late that maybe Keontae Ingram isn't where they expect him to be. And,
Yeah.
that might be the case. He was a late round pick last year, second year. You like to see him develop, but if he can't pick up blitzes and stuff like that, you can't be a number two on a competent team. I don't think so. I do feel like Tyson Williams had the best game on Saturday night or Friday night, whenever the hell that game was. And we had him on the practice squad last year. He didn't get any run or very little run if he did at all. Because I believe they signed him and Corey Clement same week, I want to say. And Corey Clement got the nod, I believe. But Tyson Williams is a guy who started 3 games for Baltimore in 21. In each of those 3 games, he combined to average over 6 yards a carry. And so we saw that again when he had 10 carries, 50-something yards against Denver. So that is a guy who, if I had put my money on a couple bucks, I'd keep an eye on him. Still kind of a young guy, but he has, started games in the past. And Corey Clement's another guy. He might be more favored right now to take that role. But I like what I see in Tyson Williams, and he runs hard. So that's all you can really ask for.
That is my favorite type of running back style, is someone that can run, north and south and run hard. And Noah says, honestly think Connor will be our bell cow and the rest of the running backs room.
Oh, yeah.
It's sort of a hot hand approach. And yeah, Connor's is going to, carry the load this season. I think we will be running back heavy. It's just a matter of if he can stay healthy.
Exactly. That's the whole thing on James. You pound him to the ground. He hasn't proven to be able to hold up on that. So, but he definitely will be the bell cow. I think it was obvious when he's not injured or anything, right? He just didn't play last week. Is that the?
Yeah, I think that they're just kind of preserving him a little bit.
Because DJ Humphries didn't play either, so he's obviously the starting left tackle. Colt McCoy played 1 possession, so that's obvious right there. He's the number 2 guy. Clayton Tune looks like the leader to be QB3. But David Blau came in and made some dimes on the way to the final drive to win it. That was impressive, I thought, right there. I don't think he looked great kind of leading into that last possession. But for him to go out there, it makes me wonder if this next week maybe they'll have him and Clayton kind of switch roles. He's going to be the guy who's going to take the majority of the reps for the first half through maybe the third quarter, and then Tune will kind of he'll be maybe that middle of the third quarter, fourth quarter guy. But I think that is an interesting dynamic right there between Tune and Blau. I know you had a look on your face like you're mad that I said Colt McCoy is the number 2. Do you think Clayton Tune's a guy, or?
No, I'm looking at the comments trying to post everybody.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just reading, sorry. But no,
you're good.
My hot take, I went on TCR Live like almost a month, what feels like almost a month ago. I'm like, hot take, Clayton Tune, he's going to start week 1. And then after watching that game, I'm like, no.
He had some good, he had some bad, but it looked like, he looked better than Ryan Lindley. Let's put that.
I look better than Ryan Lindley.
Well, we all know that.
Physical appearance, but I could probably, fucking sling it better. But no, he was overthrowing guys. I get Rondell Moore did slip. Was it Rondell Moore that slipped? Yeah. But he did look poised for being, his first NFL start.
He had a nice arm on him. That's what something I saw
Yeah,
when he tried throwing a little out routes or anything like that. He had a little good zip on it, but yeah, look, footwork probably still needs a little bit of work to do. Those deep balls kind of sailed on him, it seemed like. But I mean, anyone who's thinking he was going to start week one, sorry, Will.
that was
Um,
me, not Will.
well, you
Our
said,
Will.
remember Will said it, and I started laughing at him, and you're like,
Yeah,
don't laugh at him. I think the same thing. I'm like, oh fuck. But I mean, if they were super tanking, if that was the plan, Clayton Tune would be the guy.
yeah,
And you're not going to have this rookie go in there and start over a 12-year vet or whatever the hell Colt McCoy is, unless you want to lose the locker room real quick. These guys are all fighting for their paychecks to play in the league next season. So to have a guy in here who you're basically wasting a year, it's just not a good look, and that's not something I think that this regime would ever considered. While no one in that locker room is going to be talking about tank or anything like that. So, but Colt McCoy, keep him healthy. I'm sure he'll probably play a little bit more this week, I'd imagine, and then maybe just rest week 3.
yeah.
Be kind of interesting to see what they do with that.
Yeah, I saw he like scrambled a little bit and kind of ran for a first down. So I'm like, please don't do that. You're gonna
Right.
get hurt, you old fuck. But no, Clayton Tune, he could probably be a good solid career backup. Sorry to everybody that thought he was gonna be our Brock Purdy. I don't foresee that. Um, but who knows if he does have a good preseason, maybe if he has to start at some point in the season and looks okay, you got your backup, or some dumbass team will sell the house to trade for him. But QB1, quarterback of the future, absolutely not.
No, I mean, if he's in the NFL in a few years, that's good for him.
Yeah.
Like not a lot of guys get drafted where you get drafted or in the league half a decade, but if you can do it, so be it. And he looked like a guy. I thought he had a good he has a good arm.
Yes.
So you get the right coaching under him, give him a year or two, and see kind of where it goes. But um, other than that, like, was there anything else that we have left off? I wanted to mention Dennis Gardeck. He looked like he was kind of back to his last season, kind of like a bust to me. But was it the year before? The year before that, the amount of production he had and very little playing time was up there with some of the best in the league before he got hurt. And so to see him get a sack against a starting left tackle on Russell Wilson, what was it, the second drive of the game, and he only played 15 snaps or something like that. And so to see him hopefully earn a role, this team is in dire need of edge rushers, and Zayden Collins, that was one that I was kind of thinking.
Yes.
I thought he looked quick. I thought he looked, he kind of looked the part as well. I think time will tell for him. He might not be a guy who's going to hit it right away. It's been a couple of years since he's played this position. So, but if we can see some productivity in him, maybe I don't know if he's going to get all the snaps right away out there, or what their exact plan is going to be. But to see him grow and maybe end up being a 10-sack guy, I don't think it'd be too far out of the realm of possibilities. Hopefully for the former first-round pick.
No, and initially I thought that Zaven was going to be undersized for the edge position, based on kind of what I've seen, because like I said, I didn't get to watch the game or a lot of the game. But based on what I've seen, he had a good game when he did play. And I think that now that, when we talked about Isaiah Simmons, same kind of goes for him.
Yeah.
Now that we've got competent coaching that can actually coach up and build these players and playing them in a position that they can have success in. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what he does this season. And this is coming from someone that absolutely hated the pick. And
Yeah, we
up
both
until
didn't like
last
that
season, then you
linebacker.
really
Yeah.
saw flashes. Yeah. Um, so I'm really excited to see him play. Another person speaking of me hating picks, I went on TCR Live and they're like, well, what do you think about Trey McBride? I'm like, well, I fucking hate that we drafted him in the second round such a random ass pick. We weren't in dire need of a tight end to take him that high. And then I'm
No,
like,
I think a
yeah,
lot
but
of
I
us
didn't
thought
think about
that.
him in training camp. And like my dumbass, like I didn't even know that he's hurt. So I guess he's hurt. But that's gonna be somebody too that really needs to step up and prove it, because
Yeah,
this regime doesn't owe you anything. They didn't draft you.
no,
They had no plans for you. You're just kind of stuck with them at this point.
right. Yeah, it's interesting that the two first rounders that defense last couple of years, Isaiah Simmons and Zayvon Collins, the new guys come in like, fuck it, we're moving you guys. No, they had you in. Vance Joseph was fucking with you, like,
Yeah.
especially Isaiah Simmons. That was dirty. They did
Yeah.
Isaiah Simmons. And you just can't do that to a rookie coming in the league. You're trying to, force him into, a round peg into a square hole or whatever the fuck that saying is. But yeah, and this is a time. These guys need to prove it. I think Zaven will. His speed, he's sneaky he's sneaky big and sneaky quick. Like, you don't think, unless you're like down on the field, I feel like he doesn't seem that intimidating.
Yeah.
But if you actually walk by him or see him, you're like, God damn, that's a big boy right there, and like all muscle for the most part too. So I do have high hopes that these guys will find a home at their positions and thrive right now. So, and that's all you can really ask for with the new regime, is to stick with it too. Don't, if it's not, it doesn't work after 2 or 3 weeks, don't switch them again. Let them prove it that they can't do the job. Put them out there, and whether you cut down their snaps or whatever. But then if Zaven ended up moving the inside line, like, it was just stunting the development on both of these guys. It just can't happen anymore, and that's what Vance Joseph seemingly did way too often, was stunning a lot of these guys, growth into the league. For whatever reason, he I don't know if he thought he was the smartest guy, in the room all the time, but I'm just looking for it. It feels like a fresh start,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's been a while since we've been on here, and it's nice to talk about the Cardinals, even if it's after preseason, just a preseason game, but talking after a win. These beers go down a little bit smoother. So I think the Chiefs lost last week, so. And I feel like any of the years the Cardinals are supposed to be shitty, they end up winning like a handful of preseason games. So
Yeah.
if you're better, I won $13 on the Cardinals. They were down 10-0, and we were driving the ball to. I think we scored that. We got a field goal, so I bet a couple bucks on them. So I won $13 on the comeback. So
Those are
I lost it all the next day. So yeah.
Hey, all good.
Betting.
Yeah. No, I will be at the
You going?
Chiefs.
Nice.
Yeah, just for about an hour. I have a birthday dinner to go to afterwards, so I'll be there for a little bit.
You going with your pops?
Of course.
Nice. Tell your dad what up.
I will. Yeah.
Mr. Jackie. Oh shit! I guess we can't say Mr.
No, yeah. There's no more Mr. Supposed to be tuning in. Your bitch is getting divorced. Before anybody gets too excited, I already got somebody else.
We can't call your dad Mr. Jackie. That just doesn't feel
right.
That's
Jackie Senior.
Jackie Senior. Jackie Senior. I like it. Yeah. I like it. Well, thank you guys all for joining us. We're going to be here every week from here on out. We were kind of in this whole switcheroo that we were doing from, the whole Discord to now we're AZ Sports Underground affiliate. Figuring out our kind of little new branding and everything. And so we're back, though. If anything, Jackie and I will be here every week. Promise. Except for maybe the week I get married. I get married on get the Ravens game that Sunday. So that'll be interesting. October 29th. Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations to Mac and future Mrs. Mac. Everybody give him a round of applause.
And that's how you know I'm a fake fan. Get married on a Sunday during football season. So
you must really love your fiance, because that would be a fucking no-go for me.
This chick's got fucking 4 cats, and I'm allergic to cats, so I have to take an allergy pill every day. So yeah, I think I do. I think I kind of like her a lot. So we'll see.
Hey, that's the fucking cutest thing I've ever heard.
We'll see. You're like, this is disgusting. We're out of here.
The fucking bar. Someone getting divorced. I don't want to fucking hear this shit. Kidding.
Sorry. No, you're good.
No, but yeah, come hang out with us. We're gonna be drunk.
Yeah,
louder, louder.
let's go to a game. We need to go check out a game, and if we do, since Jackie's in town, we'll let everyone know, and hopefully get a little meetup going. Go down there, buy Jackie some beer.
Yep.
Get her
Buy
a
beer,
DD
we'll
on the
do
way
meet and
home.
greet. I will sign your tits. Anything else you want to discuss before we head out?
Go D-backs. They need to fucking take 2 or 3 or 4 this weekend against the Padres. Other than that, I am glad football season is here. It's upon us. The dog days of summer are over with. And I wouldn't rather do this with anybody else other than you, Jackie, and Will, wherever the hell you're out at on this Thursday night doing college things. But did I tell you, Will tried to sell me a Mikal Bridges jersey for $50. He hit me up like Monday. He's like, "Hey, bro, I got a great deal." I'm like, "What?"
A great deal.
A great deal. He's like, "Hey, I got a stitched up Mikal Bridges jersey for $50, bro. I just need the money." Fuck no, I ain't gonna fucking. What am I gonna do? The Mikal Bridges jersey, bro. Sorry, I like Mikal, but come on, man. Jesus Christ.
You didn't tell me that, but no. Oh my God.
Hey, he's like, hey, because you know I'd call him out if he was here too. You know I would. You know I would. So yeah, but hopefully Will can jump on next week. You know, we need someone to argue with, and how can I argue with that? You know, I can't argue with Jackie, Queen Jackie. Sheesh. So,
I'm half of this beer deep. We're gonna be fucking throwing fists. You try to argue with me.
Well, we know you can drink beer better than some podcasters around here, so that's.
Oh, here, let me cup the balls real quick.
Let's end it. I'm gonna chug one beer. Let's end it on the chug.
You gonna chug beer? I just ate. I can't chug right now. I'm gonna be fucking throwing up all over my laptop.
We gotta get up at 5 tomorrow to go. We're gonna go to the rental car place by the airport at 5. So I gotta get kind of toasted up a little bit so I can sleep by like fucking right after the D-back game.
Oh yeah.
So one chug. Let's do it.
Cheers.
To the Arizona Cardinals, 2023. And everyone listening, watching, we appreciate you guys. Love you guys. From Jackie and Mac, it's cheers. I guess it'll be that way. Cheers.
Cheers.
Boom. Boom.
Jesus Christ. The work of art. Talent.
Woo! Let's go, baby! Cardinals! Los Cardinals! Let's go! All right.
All right, y'all. Well, this has been another episode of the Redbird Redzone podcast. My name is Jackie. You can find me on Twitter at jsandiego. That is with 2 O's. Filling in for Will. You can find Will on Twitter at liveonthatswing.
And I'm Mac. You can find me at liveonthatswing. No, I'm kidding. You can find me at AZ Sports Fiend. That's FIEN. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.